I can't think of a single song. I've never heard a song before in my life. Is that better?
I've never heard a song before.
I've
My
never
name's
sang a
Charlotte.
song before.
Welcome to Oddball. I'm Amin Elhassan. That's Charlotte Wilder in studio in New York City. Charlotte, you texted me yesterday right before the tip for Knicks Bucks. And you said, I'm so nervous right now. And I'm so nervous for this game right now. And I said, for Knicks Bucks? I didn't know if there was another different sport that was playing at the same time last night. And you told me I'm fully bought in. I have the fever.
Yes, I mean, I am 1000% obsessed with the in-season tournament. I wish the Knicks had done us a favor and won last night, as your bracket said, and as we have said that Adam Silver would probably have loved. But even so, what a world. It feels like these games matter, and it feels like players are buying in, and that to me is very exciting.
Everybody seems to be bought in. The fans, the broadcasters, everyone's in on it. Look, last night, that Lakers-Suns game, that's the kind of thing that if it were a meaningless game, you wouldn't see so many people complaining about that ending, huh?
Well, that's what I mean. And I think that we wouldn't see Tyrese Halliburton have that huge stage in the same way. I also don't think that the Bucks, I'm not convinced that the Bucks would have pulled away that they did in the game if it weren't such a high-profile situation.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so last night, I alluded to the end of that Lakers-Suns game. It was a great game, back and forth. LeBron doing LeBron things. Durant continuing his amazing streak of 25-plus points in every game for, I believe, now 18 straight games. And the Suns, who are, they're playing against the clock because they're down. They get a layup from Durant. Lakers inbound to Austin Reeves, who gets doubled, coughs up the ball. LeBron calls timeout. The Lakers are awarded a timeout. The ball is clearly out of Austin Reeves' possession. Charlotte, Frank Vogel was really upset after the game. He said, I know it's not under the list of reviewable things, but hey, we've seen it before where a ref will have an inadvertent whistle and they'll huddle up and say, yeah, I whistled it, but I realize now I shouldn't have. And they reversed the call in the moment. They should have reversed the call, except for the fact that Josh Tiven, the crew chief of last night's refereeing ensemble, said to the pool reporter after the game that Austin Reeves did have possession. And they're pointing to this. Austin Reeves with the ball pinned to his leg right before he loses control. And they're saying, that's control. That's a timeout. Charlotte, how does that explanation sit with you?
The explanation doesn't sit great because I don't know that control. What are you going to do with the ball when it's on your leg? Like, control to me means that you have it and you can then do something with it. But at the same time, the Suns had 20 turnovers. The Lakers had 9. And no one, I'm generally of the belief that, if you want to win the game, then, win the game. Don't blame it on the referees. But at the same time, in these situations, those calls do matter, and they do affect the outcome of the game. And if it's the wrong game, it sort of goes into the, should we just use robots? There's going to be some human error in refereeing, which I think makes everything a little more interesting. But what was your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, Look, 20 turnovers, and they got annihilated on the inside. Having said that, they got annihilated on the inside of 20 turnovers and still had a chance to win the game. And so that call was kind of crucial. And it just, I just don't think anyone watches that sequence and says he has control. The ball is dislodged. It's out. And the referee, I believe it was Tom Washington, who made the call, gave the timeout call. He's on the other side of the court, so he's seeing LeBron call for timeout. He's not necessarily seeing the ball, whether it's loose or not. So I'm kind of with Coach Vogel. I think that's something that they should be able to say, look, did you see if the ball was in control when you awarded timeout? Not really. All right. At worst, it should be a jump ball. Hey, we don't know whether it was dislodged or not. So we're going to award a jump ball here rather than give Lakers or Suns possession. But I think all of it is kind of irrelevant because what matters is everyone's up in a frenzy about this and everyone cares. And that's the big thing, right? That's all we really wanted out of any of this.
Yeah, I don't think we're having arguments about a call like this if it isn't the in-season tournament. And if we haven't decided that it matters. And you, my friend, are going to see the Lakers play the Pelicans, the Pacers play the Bucks.
Yes.
What are you most looking forward to? Which game?
I mean, both games. You know, it's a weird situation. I've never been in this situation for NBA before. I guess Summer League would be the closest thing. But to go to an arena, watch a game, and then wait and then watch another game. I've done it for college basketball. I've done it at the G League Showcase. I've done it at Summer League. But this is the first time I'm going to be watching guys like LeBron James and Zion Williamson and Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton do this kind of thing that they haven't done probably since Summer League or maybe even college or high school or AAU or something like that. So I think I'm interested to see how they pull it off as an event, as a neutral site event where no one is the quote unquote home team. I know we have neutral site events allegedly in preseason when, you know, the Lakers are playing in Palm Springs. or the Blazers are playing in Seattle. But the reality is those teams are the home team. They're responsible for executing everything. And the visiting team just gets a check for that. This is different. This is, hey, the NBA is in full control. This is like playing in Abu Dhabi or in Paris or somewhere like that. So I'm excited. I want to see what it's going to look like. And I'm excited that we have another event on the calendar that's kind of like a family reunion. A lot of people are showing up to Vegas. I know I'm really excited to see, I guess we'll hold that for later. Some new family members, some old new family members. Yeah.
We have some news. Let's tease that. But first we have to, after this, go to another situation in Vegas. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I mean, the other situation happening in Vegas is that the NBA will allow scouts to go watch high school games that are being played in Las Vegas at the same time as the in-season tournament.
Yes, they're not just allowing it, they're hosting it.
Yes, as a part of a growing partnership with Nike, NBA teams will be permitted to attend 5 Nike EYBL Scholastic Showcase games on December 8th through 9th. And this includes a game between Monteverde Academy and Link Academy. And Monteverde Academy is, of course, where Maine's own Cooper Flagg has been playing. He just committed to Duke and is, talk about a prospect. Best thing come out of New England since Duncan Robinson.
So this is Nike's Elite Youth Basketball League. And they bring together the top programs on the high school level to play against each other. They also do it for AAU in the summertime. In 2005, when the new CBA was ratified and they introduced the one and done rule, basically you had to have a year removed from your high school class and turn 19 in the calendar year to be draft eligible. When they introduced that rule, David Stern introduced a second edict basically saying, no more people scouting high school games at all. You were allowed to scout just things like the Nike Hoop Summit, the McDonald's All-America game, and then any national team play. So if I wanted to go watch Cooper Flagg play for the under 19 or the under 17 team or whatever, under 16s World Cup, I can do that. I can watch him in FIBA Americas under 22s. I can watch him in the FIBA World Cup, whatever. I can do those things. But going to watch his high school game, off limits. And you say, what difference does it make, right? So you're going to have to wait a couple of years before you can watch him in person.
Yes.
In 2017, the Boston Celtics had the number 1 overall pick, right? They then did a deal with the Sixers to trade down to 3, and they took Tatum with that pick, while the Sixers took Markelle Fultz, number 1 overall. Do you remember that, right?
Sure do.
So Markelle Fultz was a very this wasn't like a mind-blowing transaction. Markelle Fultz was, for many people, the number one player on the board. He played at Washington. He was a big guard. The game seems to be transitioning towards better guard play, more important. The guard is the most important position. Tatum was a great player in college, but everyone kind of felt like, yeah, he's good, maybe even number one eligible, but this wasn't a crazy deal, is basically what I'm saying. Why would he gamble? Why would he trade down? Well, number 2 was Lonzo Ball, and every indication was that the Lakers were going to take Lonzo Ball. So there was no risk that their guy Tatum would go at 2. But still, why go through this whole rigmarole? And especially, why skip over Markelle Fultz? Well, Danny Ainge had an advantage that nobody else had. Danny Ainge had watched Markelle Fultz a lot, as it turns, as a high school player. Because Danny Ainge had a son who was playing high school basketball at the same time. Did he have
a kid? Oh, my God. That's
so Danny Ainge didn't watch Markelle Fultz as Danny Ainge, GM of the Boston Celtics. And so he was able to get a head start on a lot of the intel gathering about Markelle Fultz that allowed him to say, he might be good, but I'm not taking him. This rule was in place because David Stern felt like he didn't want our scouts in high school gyms. But the reality is, Charlotte, when you look at the vast majority of players who were drafted straight out of high school to the NBA, they were all, on a whole, massively more successful than kids that went to college. Not saying that, you shouldn't go to college. I'm just saying, if you're good enough for the NBA to want to draft you straight out of high school, chances are you're going to be an NBA player. Doesn't mean you're going to be the Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett level player. And so this, even if we're not going to change the age limit rule, which I think at some point needs to change, this part of it makes sense. Look, if I'm going to go watch you in high school, you're probably a pretty good player.
Wow. There you have it. Are you going to go? You going to go watch any high school games?
We'll see. We'll see. I got to catch up with a lot of people, Charlotte. I don't know if you heard the news, but we here at Meadowlark and the DraftKings Network are in a new partnership with a bunch of new friends for you, Charlotte, but old friends for me. All the smoke people. We got Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes and Rachel Nichols, a host of other people, both in front of and behind the camera, who I worked with when I was at ESPN. We had a wonderful show called The Jump. And now all of these people are coming in under the umbrella. We're all back together on the same network. We're going to be doing a lot of cross promotion, a lot of some of us going on their shows, some of them coming on our shows. And I personally, I'm so excited for this. These are not only great people to work with, and they bring, I think, a different insight to the game that we love, but also these are people that I really enjoy being around. And so I'm excited to get to Vegas to see everybody else and see the games, but I'm really excited to catch up with all my old friends.
I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait to get to know everybody. If this is a family reunion, am I like the cousin who was discovered on 23andMe by accident, or am I like a step sibling who like got married in? Like, can I be a part of this family? I mean,
I think you are like the newborn. And it's like, you guys haven't met baby Charlotte yet. And
she's learning how to walk.
Yeah, this is your Uncle Stack, and this is your Uncle Matt. This is your Aunt Rachel. Like, hey, we're all here.
I love it. All right. Well, you know what day it is. I mean, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means.
Fisticuffs up.
Paws up.
Charlotte, we're going to play a little game called Word Count. Here's how it goes. I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to have to answer it in 10 words or less, but we need you to visually signify how many words 10 words is. Do you have a nice little heuristic that you can use?
Yes, I do, and it's these bad boys right here.
No, I don't like it when you do that. Make them fist. I don't want to see the hot dogs. I don't want to see 10 glizzies. All right, question number 1, Charlotte. Of the teams knocked out of the quarterfinals, Celtics, Kings, Knicks, and Suns, which of them should be the most concerned and why? The
Knicks
Celtics,
and
the Kings. Oh, okay.
But Knicks, because healthy and played hard. I think that the Knicks should be concerned. Obviously, as we talked about earlier in the show, there's nothing you can do when the Bucks are just making every three that they shoot, and when you have Damian Lillard and Giannis. But that is a team that they would run into in the playoffs, probably. And I think they played really hard that first half. I was like, oh my God, is there? So you're saying there's a chance? Very physical. Jalen Brunson taking all sorts of charges. Julius Randle driving to the rim, which was both surprising and delightful.
Best game I've ever seen him play.
He had his best game. Yeah, it was the best game of his life. And even so, they lost by a lot. And that is concerning to me. I think it shows that they need a Dame or a Giannis, as good as their and solid as their core is. So sorry to the Knicks. Okay, Amin, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Why should the Orlando Magic's Jamal Mosley be a front runner for Coach of the Year? And here's a quote. Franz Wagner said, quote, I think Mosley has done an incredible job. I think the hardest thing to do is get everybody on the team and to be on one page, commit to each other and commit to the group. So far, I think he's done a great job with that this year, and hopefully we can keep winning for him. I think he's definitely deserving as of right now.
Who else? That's first, right? Massive leap in wins, also crafted elite defense. To me, there's no other answer. There's no other team that you can look at and say, oh yeah, I knew they'd do that, or kind of pretend to say I knew that they'd do that and look like a fool saying it because no one thought they'd be this good. Now I know people in Orlando are going to point to, hey, this team was pretty much 500 over the last 50 games of the season last year, despite only winning 34 games on the year. But Jamal Mosley has made them into not just a 500 team. This is an excellent team. And it's pretty incredible given they're not great at shooting. They're not great at scoring, but they are elite defensively and they have enough offense to carry them through. And by the way, Markelle Fultz has been in and out of the lineup. So they really haven't had like a fully healthy kind of lineup the entire season either. So I think a big thing about this is we could have looked at Jamal Mosley's early tenure in Orlando and said, oh, they're not winning, get him out of here. Mm-hmm. Winning takes time. Building a culture takes time. But I applaud the Orlando front office for knowing, hey, we know we have a good coach. The results may not be there, but we know we have a good coach. We know he has good process, and give it some time. It'll turn around, and it's turned around probably more spectacularly than anyone could have imagined this soon. Question number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Can the Bucks sustain the offensive power we saw Tuesday night against the Knicks?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. The reason I put this question in is because when we saw them play in Miami, I was like, okay, great offense. But we had expectations for them that were so high. And I feel like this is the first game we actually saw them do things that were nuts, that were like, oh, okay, well, how do you even stop that? And to me, it had to do with the fact that there was something on the line. I think that vibe of the in-season tournament, they're undefeated in the in-season tournament. So to me, that says like, oh, okay, there's something here that makes them care, and they have to bring that to the rest of the regular season, because we don't want another situation like we had last year where they got knocked out very early. And that's going to be something that we have to see sustained in the rest of the regular season when there isn't an in-season tournament, even though I would really like there to be just multiple in-season tournaments as the entire NBA regular season.
I'm not mad at it, but I won't disagree with you. Not that I don't think they can be a juggernaut. I just think last night a bunch of dudes like Malik Beasley was twerking and making shots. That's what happened. Okay. I still don't see like, hey, Dame and Giannis working together. Oh my God, it's unstoppable. This 2-man game like Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. I'm not seeing that from them. I'm seeing here and there little drag screens in transition and a little hit aheads and stuff, but it's not like truly unlocking what that combination is. But we'll see, I guess. It speaks volumes that they're like 15-6 and they're undefeated in season tournament. They're going to Vegas, and I'm like, not good enough. So
yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Okay, I mean. PJ Tucker of the Clippers, formerly of the Sixers, sorry to everybody involved in that situation, told Sam Amick of The Athletic, quote, "There's not enough basketballs on the planet for this team, really. What is really the Clippers' biggest problem?
Size, defense, team chemistry on court, and not enough practice, right? This combination can work. It's not roll the ball out work. It's definitely needs structure and a focal point and role definition. That happens when you have a whole off season to think about it. When you got all off season OTAs, optional training, where guys can work through things. When you go to training camp and saying, this is how we're going to do it. When you go through preseason, when you're practicing every day, when you're not playing, and you're saying, this is how we want to do it. And when you're building throughout the year on what the base that you created in the summer and during camp. These guys are doing it all on the fly in the middle of the season with a fairly veteran team. So that means you don't have a whole lot of practices. Even when there are practice days, it's usually guys getting treatment, guys getting shots up, and maybe some, theoretical talk, but not enough work on the court. The problem for the Clippers is all of those guys are impending free agents pretty much, whether by option or straight up free agency. So they've got to figure it out to a level of success that makes everyone say, you know what, let's come back and do it again next year.
Totally. Great.
Yeah.
Good word.
Charlotte, your last question.
Mm-hmm.
Which current NBA player would have the best reality show and why?
Draymond Green, because he would play the game. Okay, now I'm going to exposition it. Because to be a great reality star, it's not about how much of, part of it is sort of how much of a loose cannon are you. And Draymond has showed that he is willing to do things that other players probably are not willing to do, such as choking out Rudy Gobert. But also first of all, he has a podcast, so we know that he can talk on camera. He fills in on TNT. I think he's great on television. But I also think he would create the drama that you need in a reality show. He would come up with storylines. They might not be real. They might not be what's actually going on in his life, but he would give the viewer the drama and the narratives that they crave because he knows how this works. He's a showman. So I would watch the heck out of a Draymond Green reality show. I mean, who would have the best reality show and why?
I'm going to give you multiple names. Watch this. Boban.
Oh, wow.
Lopez twins.
You did a little thumbs
Dennis
up on those
Smith Jr. Draymond. And who else am I missing?
See, Draymond could sustain it, though. All those names are great, but Boban's would be like a cute show. The Lopez twins would be weird, but Draymond would give you like the tension and the conflict that we need.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think the definition of reality show, like, if I think of things like
when Sunset, I'm seeing this on
No,
Netflix.
I know. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm realizing there's a disconnect because reality shows now, Selling Sunset, Basketball Wives, Real Housewives, those kind of shows are all very conflict driven. Right? It's about people not liking each other. Oh, and then someone shakes the table or throws a drink or whatever. And in that regard, you're right. Draymond would be A1, right? Because he wouldn't be afraid to have issues with people on camera.
Right.
I'm thinking about it. I'm showing my age. I'm thinking about like, the Osbournes and like Run's House and like all those like it's fun. Oh, they're fun. It's a funny family. I'm like, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about, like the Lopez's and Boban and like Dennis Smith. These are funny people. The funny lives. I think it'd be interesting to me to watch them kind of, very innocently stuff, who ate the last Eggo waffle, things like that, like
Robin Lopez is showing us his like collection of mascot jerseys. Yeah. I mean, I would love that. I just don't see it getting greenlit in today's economy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. See, Charlotte's like a real TV exec, and I'm just like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if like, no, it wouldn't. Shut up. Someone needs to slap somebody. Someone needs to choke somebody out.
This is the first time that I've been the cynical one in this situation. So
I know.
First for everything.
It's weird. Boom.
Thanks for watching Oddball.
Yeah. They used to thank them for the segment. Now you just thank them for the whole show.
Now I just thank them for the whole show.
Soon you'll thank them for the network. Thank you for watching DraftKings Network.
Thank you for watching DraftKings. Thank you for Roku in general.
And then it gets even bigger. Like, thank you for just watching. Like for supporting streaming content.